And this, of course, is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. We got a lot to cover today. And man, oh man, we're going to cover as much as we possibly can for the next 3 hours. And exciting day, no doubt about it. And of course, one of the first things we're going to cover, and which I'm going to lead with, is Trump's ultimatum to Hamas. He gave them a timeline on the hostages. I'm going to start with that. And he is not playing. President Trump is not playing. And I think everybody can agree he's not playing, right? Trump does not play. But, you know, there's always going to be people that try him. There's always going to be people that... Just doing a little sound check. And we're going to be live on the radio in about 6 minutes. Okay. Oh, don't worry. We're going to have a pretty high-profile arrest soon. Mm-hmm. A very high-profile arrest. Welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I just heard from Mike, the board op. Okay. So much to cover. Welcome, welcome. Where is everyone located at this early hour of the morning? It is coming up on 5:59 a.m. here on East Coast Mar-a-Lago time. Detroit, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Charlotte, North Carolina, Blue Ridge, Georgia, Detroit, Iowa, we're big in Iowa, California, Pennsylvania, Palm Bay, Philippines, England. I haven't heard anybody call it England in so long. It's nice to see England, not the UK. Sanford, Rhode Island, Iowa, again, big in Iowa, the Bronx, Michigan, Arkansas, Michigan, Colorado, Phoenix, Arizona, Tennessee, Maine, Magabama, I guess that's Alabama. Cool. San Diego, Seattle, Washington, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Clearwater, Philadelphia, Switzerland, welcome Switzerland, Port St. Lucie, Florida, PSL, that's Port St. Lucie, Florida, Dallas, Maryland. We're 3 minutes away from being on the radio. Southwest Florida, New Mexico, New Port Richey, awesome. Yep, Google Maps says Gulf of America. I checked just a little bit ago, and Apple has not updated their maps yet. North Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, Arkansas again. Yes, this is a nationally syndicated program as well as global. I'm going to look on the map in my car, the navigation of my car, to see if they've updated it. One of my cats. Now, those of you that are watching on the live stream with the green screen in the background, to see and hear the audio that I'm playing, to see the video and hear the audio, you have to go to my other stream that I want to start in just a moment. You'll hear the callers fine here, but the audio and video you won't see or hear too well. Okay, we are 1 minute away. I'm going to start the other stream because we're going to get right into it. Oops. Welcome, everyone. My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. And we're going to be live on the radio in about 45 seconds, and we're going to cover a lot. I'm going to start with President Trump's time limit that he's given for the hostage release by Hamas in Gaza. And I'm going to go through some of the clips of both President Trump's interview with Bret Baier and his Oval Office press conference and a whole bunch more. And you can see Tom Homan right there underneath the president. We're going to get into that early too. Okay, here we go. About 25 seconds. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. I do take live calls. They're all screenless. This is the only program on YouTube that takes screenless calls. The number's pinned in the live chat if you want to call. Toll free from anywhere. All right, stand by. Welcome, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. All right, we're going to jump right into it because so much has happened. President Trump, you know, that big interview with Bret Baier came out, and Fox had been hyping that, and there were some good things in that interview. I'm going to share some of them in just a bit. But President Trump was involved in another Oval Office executive order signing event that turned into a press conference, and he dropped some pretty big stuff that I want to talk about. And I'm going to start with what he said to Hamas in Gaza, and this is very powerful. Listen. Okay, Saturday at 12 o'clock. President Trump has given them until Saturday at 12 to turn over the hostages that they're holding, Hamas. And there's another clip when he gives a little more detail that I'll play in a few minutes. You know, there is no excuse whatsoever for Hamas to have any hostages, not one hostage, from the get-go. And Hamas has been dragging their feet releasing these hostages for a number of reasons. And I'll go through some of them, and there may be others. But first, the reason they're dragging out the release of the hostages is because they become so accustomed to having a weak, senile, old, corrupt coot as president. I'm talking about Joe Biden. They don't understand that America means business under Donald Trump, and we're not going to put up with this stuff. Hamas is Iran. Netanyahu and Trump both want Iran totally out of the picture. You know, a story came out yesterday that was something that we had heard during the campaign, but now it's been officially confirmed that during the campaign, Trump was not flying to the events on Trump Force One. He was using another plane, an undercover plane that belonged to a friend of his, because Iran had hit squads in the United States that had surface-to-air missiles. They've been gunning for him for years because he took out General Soleimani, who was the Iranian general who oversaw all the global Islamic terrorism. So he wants them out of the picture yesterday. So does Netanyahu. But both Netanyahu and Trump have shown incredible restraint. And, you know, when Al-Qaeda attacked us on 9/11, and there's an update on 9/11 that we may get to today. Something's happened. I'm not sure if we'll have time for it. We'll see. I'll probably make time for it because I want to get it out there. But the thing about 9/11, the reason 9/11 happened were many. But one of the reasons was Al-Qaeda were behaving like Hamas. Al-Qaeda had attacked the United States several times in the past, right? The Trade Center had been attacked before. The embassy towers in Africa were attacked by Al-Qaeda. The USS Cole was attacked by Al-Qaeda. And the United States response was zip. In fact, the way that it was handled, and Clinton was the worst. I mean, he was just the worst when it came to this kind of stuff. It was handled like a crime had been committed. Not an act of war or terror, but like a crime. And Clinton would send the CSI unit from the FBI to Yemen to investigate the Cole attack, as an example. And Al-Qaeda were thinking like Hamas is right now, that the United States is weak and will not respond. And I shouldn't say Hamas is thinking, because it's Iran, right? They're a front for Iran. So Iran is thinking that America is weak and won't respond, like Al-Qaeda did prior to 9/11. They're making a big mistake because Netanyahu wants to wipe out Hamas. Trump wants to wipe out Hamas. They both want to wipe out Iran, and they have given them every opportunity. And President Trump has given Hamas until noon on Saturday to release the hostages. Now, we don't know if that's noon Washington, D.C. Eastern Standard Time or Gaza time, but Iran and Hamas better figure out if it's noon Gaza time or noon Washington time, because they mean business. And the only reason they're giving this timeline till noontime on Saturday is so they can get the military assets in place. They need some time to do that, I'm sure, to do whatever it is they're going to do. And when I play the next clip in a few minutes of President Trump, when he first mentioned this in the Oval Office yesterday, he was implying that it'll be Israel who wipes them out. So that's one reason that Iran and Hamas are dragging out the release of the hostages. Another one is that, have you seen when they do this? They hold like a whole ceremony. They invite the whole town out. Hamas get their cowardly masks on, and they bring them out on stage, and Trump and they like the ceremony of it. It's a propaganda tool for them. And President Trump is right. They look like people from concentration camps. They're getting sicker and sicker all the time. There are probably a lot of other reasons. Some of the hostages may no longer be with us, sadly, and they don't want people to know that until as far down the road as they can put it off. But they're making a mistake, and they're playing right into Trump and Netanyahu's hand. There's no excuse for them to have a single hostage, ever. The attack they made on Israel at the music festival was barbaric. It was completely 100% unprovoked and uncivilized. Some of these hostages were people that were taken from the music festival. Some of them were people just hanging out in their home with their family, relaxing, and they were taken. So they're making a big mistake, and it's going to happen. Now, whether it happens at 12:01 on Saturday, we don't know. It may not happen until the next day or the day after the next day. Who knows? But it will happen if they don't turn over those hostages. And I know a lot of people, I've seen people already speculating about this on social media. They're like, oh, is Trump serious? Yes. Trump would not make a statement like that from his desk in the Oval Office if he did not intend to follow up with it. Now, after the first break, I'll play more audio of President Trump in the Oval Office, but there's a lot happening today, and we're going to cover as much as we possibly can. Your calls are also welcome on all of this. The number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You know, if you look at the history of terrorism, the Islamic terrorism, when it at its peak, when they've really been active doing things, it's always when the President of the United States is treating them as if they're an equal partner in peace. Peace is something they never want to have. They want to have some breaks so they can regroup, rearm, recruit more people, but they don't want peace. They never will have peace with Israel. It's just not going to happen. They want all the Jews dead. Let's just face it. That there's no two-state solution possibility, you know. There's that, and they know that. I think most people know that. It's just it's not politically correct to say it. And President Trump is 100% serious about the United States taking Gaza, making it some type of U.S. protected zone, and relocating all of the Palestinians to Egypt and Jordan. It's going to happen. It's going to be rough, and it'll cause problems, and they'll act out, lash out, and do terrible things and hurt people. But in the long run, it will accomplish the greater good, which is stop having people in Israel have to live in fear of their lives each and every second of every day. That's just the reality. Now, I want to remind you that the free shipping, I just checked before I went on the air, the free shipping is still in effect at mypillow.com, site-wide on all orders, no matter how large, no matter how small. There's no conditions. It is free shipping no matter what you order with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, at mypillow.com. This free shipping offer will end without notice, so take advantage of it while you can. That's promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, at mypillow.com. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. All right, we'll take our first break, and we'll hear more from the president after this. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Hello? That was Steve calling me. We just talked before I went on the air. Trying to get my... Perfect. All right, 30 seconds and we will be back. I'll play the longer clip of the president when we get back. All right, 15 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Okay, so President Trump has laid down the law to Iran. I know it's Hamas, but Hamas is a front for Iran. I mean, we all know this, okay? This is the longer version when he first mentioned the timetable.
Well, I would say this, and I'm going to let that because that's his decision, but as far as I'm concerned, all of the hostages are returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock. I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out. I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday, and if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2. Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, I would say all hell is going to break out.
Wow, okay. So, yeah, so President Trump is he's been holding Israel back. How could you make an argument against what they're going to do? They've had these hostages over a year. Why do they have them in the first place? Because they're uncivilized and they're animals. I mean, that attack on Israel is the most horrific attack I've seen on a country, totally unprovoked. It's so medieval, the way that they did it, prehistoric and how savage it was. And we're going to find out real quick. And Pete Hegseth, I'm sure, because our military coordinates with their military, the Israeli military, very closely. Pete Hegseth probably has to get our assets in order too. Worldwide, there'll probably be a global alert because who knows? And what Iran will do when Israel makes its move with Trump behind them, well, it'll be up to them what to do. But they better make a decision right quick, because if they make the wrong decision and don't release those hostages, things are going to escalate to a point that they really don't want them to escalate to. And Trump, as much as Trump wants to wipe out Iran because they've been trying to kill him for years, and I get that, he really does not want war. President Trump has a long history since the war in Vietnam of being very anti-war. People don't realize that about Trump. They think that all Republicans are like George Bush, that they all want war all the time, and that's not the case. Now, before I get back to more from the president's interviews, Tom Homan just went out and said something amazing yesterday on Hannity, on Fox News. And, that big raid of the gangs in Colorado, remember last week? They were going to arrest dozens of these Venezuelan gang members, and someone tipped them off that the raid was coming, and they all bugged out. They only got like one guy. And Tom Homan immediately says, we're going to find this leaker and arrest him, put cuffs on him. Pam Bondi said, it was either yesterday or the day before yesterday, that whoever this leaker is, we're going to find them. They're putting federal agents' lives, as well as local police, in danger. Well, Tom Homan says they have found the leaker and he's at the FBI. You hear that? The first leaker in the Aurora raid, which was on the Venezuelan gangs, they're investigating them. They've identified them. Mm. Okay, so now this is going to be, I would imagine, very high profile. So the leak in Aurora and the other leak that he was talking about, it comes from inside the FBI. Now that could be anyone. It doesn't have to necessarily be an agent. But whoever it is, I would imagine that'll be a very high profile arrest, don't you? Because they want to send a message. And whoever these leakers are inside the FBI, they're making the same mistake that Hamas and Iran are making. They don't understand that President Trump and his team are not messing around. They have 4 years to get everything in a row and drain the swamp for the next MAGA president, whoever that may be after Trump. And they are not playing with these people, nor should they. You know, do we have spies inside our federal law enforcement agencies that are working for these people? You know, when the USAID scandal broke, the financial scandal, one of the things we've been finding out about this, a story came out over the weekend, that USAID was paying for the organization of the caravans of illegals down in Colombia and other parts of South America to march towards the United States, into our country. That was something done inside our federal government. There were forces inside our federal government that were paying for and organizing an invasion of this country at the southern border. And now we have leakers inside the FBI that are leaking classified information on federal raids that could get federal agents killed, local police killed, or even civilians that live in these buildings or nearby that are just innocent bystander. That's like spying. Remember, we used to get these every once in a while. There would be these roundups of people from the FBI or another intelligence agency that was spying for another country, usually the Soviet Union, although Pollard was spying for Israel. And there were high-profile arrests and high-profile trials, and they were put in dungeons and supermaxes. And that's going to happen with this person. Whoever it is, it's going to be high-profile. They know who they are. Question is, are they worried? You know, these people in the deep state and in the establishment, there's a lot of arrogance that comes with them. They don't see President Trump as their equal. They don't recognize him and his team as being in charge. You know, you got to understand, when people are bad guys like these people are, they don't view themselves as, they don't think they're evil. They think they're the heroes saving America from itself. You understand? So, no, I would not be surprised if whoever the leakers are inside the FBI that Homan says they've identified one already that's under investigation. That means the president knows who they are. Of course, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, knows who that person is. They feel totally justified in doing what it is that they're doing. You know, since Obama became president when he was elected in 2008, that's a long time ago, 17 years. We have almost a full generation of anti-American communist, Marxist, brainwashing young Americans. And many of those young Americans that have been brainwashed since Obama became president are working in senior positions in a lot of the bureaucracy of this country. And they believe that the invasion is a justified invasion. They don't even see it as that. They think it's just like, moving from Georgia to Florida. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. It's really crazy. And they have a long-term agenda. Because what they were doing, the great replacement theory that Tucker Carlson talked about is a fact. They were doing that so that they could get back in power. They believe, the Democrats and the deep state believe, that there's too many white people in this country. And the reason that they've lost power is because there's too many white people. So they've been trying to reduce the white majority and make the whites the minority, mainly through the uncontrolled invasion at our southern border. And this arrest, I can't wait for this arrest. I would not be surprised if they do the whole perp walk and everything, like back in the 80s and 90s when they would catch these spies for the Soviet Union. Now, here we are. It's Tuesday already. Can you believe the week's already? Can you believe it's already Tuesday? Time's flying by. If you started the week in pain, aching, suffering, go see Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays with Dr. Appleton. And he's offering you a free consultation. You got nothing to lose but your pain and suffering. His laser wave pain treatment works. Arthritis, bronchial neuralgia, bursitis, lumbar pain, hip pain, knee pain, sciatica, muscular contraction, strains, sprains, tinnitus, tennis elbow, neck pain, stenosis, all kinds of pain. Whatever pain you have, unless it's something it works. The laser treatment works, I'm here to tell you. There's no downtime, no shots, no injections, no drugs of any kind. It's 100% painless. In fact, not only is it painless, you don't even feel it when it's happening. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself. If you have x-rays, scans, MRIs, bring them with you for that free consultation. Dr. Appleton will be very happy to look at them in that consultation. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. Here's Dr. Appleton's number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this. If you're on hold, hang in there. And if you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. I'm going to go through a couple more things and then we'll get to the calls. Those of you that are watching on the live stream with the green background, to hear the audio and see the video, you have to go to my other stream. You'll hear the callers when I take them, but the audio and video you have to watch on the other stream for. And you hear that fine over there. Perfect, actually. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Okay, so President Trump, there's two things I'm playing audio from. If you're on hold, hang in there. There's two things I'm playing audio from. Some are some clips from the Bret Baier interview, and some are from this Oval Office executive order signing event that the president did yesterday that always turns into a press conference. And he said a lot of very important things in all of this. And I'm going to go through these clips in no particular order because they're all so good and so important. And, you know, the DOJ office, the Government Accountability Office, something came out yesterday that I did not know, and I don't think very many people know this. President Trump did not start the Government Accountability Office. The Government Accountability Office was actually started by Barack Obama. President Obama started it after the launch of his disastrous Obamacare website. And what had happened when Obamacare went live through their website, the website didn't work. And a friend of Michelle's, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time, but a friend of Michelle's was hired and paid, I don't remember how many millions of dollars in 2010 dollars, but a lot of money for this website platform for Obamacare. And they basically put together some WordPress website that you could build from the WordPress website building tool. It didn't work. And they found out that the people didn't know what they were doing and didn't put any effort into it. So Obama actually started the Government Accountability Office that Elon Musk now heads. So don't blame Trump, blame Barack Obama. But anyway, here's President Trump with Bret Baier, and he's talking about Doge.
And I've had a great help from Elon. He's been terrific. He comes in with 100 of very smart people. Started off with 12, then it went to 15, then it went to 25, then it went to 50, and everybody wants to get it. I guess you have to have an IQ of about 175. They're a smart group of people. They don't dress as well as you or unique, but they are smart, and they go in there and talk to people, and the people get all tongue-tied because they have no idea. You know, nobody thought this would be caught. But how does it work with Elon day to day? Does he come in and say, "This is what I'm working on"? Does he say, "Here's what we're doing"? First of all, he's a great guy. He was never really a supporter or not a supporter. He was a sort of semi-neutral kind of a guy. Now he's a political person, very smart, brilliant person, and which I like. I'm a big believer in IQ points. I mean, it's a good thing. And I've gotten to know him a little bit over the last couple of years. During the campaign, he liked what I said. He went to Pennsylvania. He actually campaigned right after the rocket ship went up, where he caught it coming down.
That was amazing.
He then took off. He went to Pennsylvania. He actually campaigned for me and did a very good job. I won Pennsylvania by a lot. I won everything by a lot. But Elon, I'd say, go in here because USA I've heard very bad things about for years. I mean, you did too. I mean, I'm sure you did too. It's a scam. It's a fraud. A lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a fraud. Look at the jobs that they produce for people. I'm not even going to mention their name. It's too big a show to mention their name. It's almost unfair. But
Oh, I'd like to know who that is. Does anyone know what who President Trump is talking about with this show? If you do, let me know. Call me.
a lot of it, most of it. But it's a fraud. Look
Right here.
at the jobs that they produce for people. I'm not even going to mention their name. It's too big a show to mention their name. It's almost unfair. But
Whose show?
the whole thing is a giant fraud. And I think judges will have to do the right thing, really. Otherwise, you're going to have a whole big problem with the country. Now, bottom line, you say you trust him. Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it.
Yeah. Okay. So the reason I shared that is because I wanted to let you know that no matter what they've said, okay, no matter what they've said about Doge, about Elon Musk, about the team of geniuses that he has. They may not dress like him, or Brett Baer, but they dress better than Steve Bannon, don't they? Probably a little bit better. That he's standing by Doge and standing by Elon Musk. That no matter what they throw at Elon or Doge, he stands by them. And this whole idea that Elon Musk cannot be trusted, the left, the establishment, the media have lost the ability to get false narratives going. And they have desperately now for over a week, about a week and a half now, because it really started when the Politico corruption story broke. That was the first big one. Now we find out that FEMA just spent, was it $57 million to put illegals up in luxury hotels in New York? That came out yesterday from Doge and Elon Musk. But the media and the establishment don't have the ability to get false narratives even off the ground. Everyone's not even a false start. They can't even get the motor to even attempt to turn over on false narratives. And one of the reasons that everything that they've been trying to do against Trump has not been working is because Elon Musk has the #1 news platform in the world, X, Twitter. And he finds what he finds and he posts it there and the whole world sees it. And they can't get a false narrative going because everyone knows it's a joke when they try to oppose this. But they've been trying to get a lot of false narratives going. And one of them is that Elon Musk can't be trusted. Elon Musk has the highest security clearance an American can have who's not in the military or is the president, because he's NASA now. He brought back our manned space program. He launches rockets into space almost every day of the week. I've seen him launch 3 or 4 in the last week myself with my own naked eye at my house. He's got one that he's about to launch out of Texas again. I forget the name of it, but it's the largest. He's launched them before. The largest rockets ever created, larger than even the Saturn V's that sent the Apollo astronauts to the moon. If he could not be trusted, why did the Democrats allow him to have the highest security clearance there is? And he's launching rockets pretty much every day. Now, those rockets are going up into orbit, or they're going to the space station. But if he was really this evil guy, how could they trust him with the control of rockets? Because you don't think he has the ability to change the course of those rockets and have them go anywhere he wants? New York City, Tehran, London? Of course he does, but the government has trusted him even under Joe Biden with rockets and that high security. And it's amazing to me that when all these people, these conservative pundits, go up against these liberals that don't trust Elon, nobody ever points this out. And he's very, very much involved in SpaceX. He's involved in everything, and he knows everything about it. He's not some rich guy that just owns it and is on vacation at the beach like Bezos with his girlfriend on yachts all the time. Okay? Now, our number, I'm going to go to the phones. I'm sorry, I know some of you have been holding on for a while. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. Oh, hold on a second. Then we'll go to this call. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name's Blake. I'm just curious why you're not reading chat.
Because I'm on the radio and I'm not sitting here to read the chat while I'm on the air.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough. What do you have to say about experts calling what Musk has done with the Treasury a coup, and supposedly, maybe not from your perspective, the whitewashing from mainstream media over?
Well, I'm really a little confused by that. Because I don't see. Explain to me where
experts called it
experts. Well, explain to me. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Explain to me what you or they mean by a coup with Elon Musk. Where's the coup? Who's?
Yeah. Well, he's essentially doing stuff that he's not allowed to do. He doesn't have the legal right to do, and
what is he doing that he doesn't? Okay, all right. What is Elon Musk doing?
The Treasury.
Breaking in.
Into the Treasury.
He didn't break in.
Okay.
He works for. Excuse me. The Treasury Department he hung up. Yeah, another gamer, up in the middle of the night somewhere in America. He didn't break in. He works for the President of the United States of America. The Treasury Department is part of the executive branch under the President of the United States. And the President of the United States has appointed him to lead an office that was started by President Obama to look to see where government wasteful spending is. It's really amazing to me. It blows me away. I understand why the media don't want Elon Musk looking into this government corruption, because we found out that the media, these fake news outlets, are getting tens of millions of dollars a year from them. Disney was getting at least $18 million a month on the fake Disney Plus subscriptions. New York Times got $50 million. They've been funding thousands of journalists around the world, many in this country, for years. So I understand the media, it's about self-preservation. They don't want to lose their paycheck. The Democrats in Washington, they're part of the corruption, like Chelsea Clinton, who got the $84 million, okay? So the politician Democrats in Washington, this is how they make their money. But rank and file Democrats in America, for the life of me, I don't understand why you all who, no matter who you are, if you're a regular rank and file Democrat somewhere in this listening audience, okay, you have to find some way to pay your bills and feed yourself and house yourself and make your car payments and buy gas. And you're paying taxes. Even if you're not paying income tax, you're paying taxes somewhere, whether it's to the federal government through gasoline tax or sales taxes in your state or whatever. Everyone's paying taxes somehow, somewhere. Why are you defending this theft from the government that these people are living very extravagant lifestyles on while you're struggling to pay your bills and live your life? I don't understand that. Is it just knee-jerk, you hate Trump derangement syndrome? All right, let's take another call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You talk about the leaker from earlier, this FBI leaker. It might not be an agent. Remember, Strzok and Page were lawyers, were counsels for the
Strzok
FBI,
was an
right?
agent. No, Strzok was an agent. He was in charge of investigating that, the Hillary Clinton servers and all that. He was an agent.
Yeah. Well, I think Page was a lawyer for the FBI.
I don't remember what she was. Yeah, I can't remember what her job was.
But remember, think about this now. Obama did a whole bunch of hiring in 2009, and these probational agents were probably just about to as Trump was taking his office in 2016, they were about to touch the outer ring of the leadership at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows who this Trump does, but we don't know. And by the way, when they do the arrest for this agent, we don't want him being perp walk with a coat over his head like they usually do with some.
Oh no, I think that it's been I cannot remember the last time there's been a high profile federal arrest of someone that was like spying, because if you're leaking information on the ICE raids on the Venezuelan gangs, you're corrupt. You're like a spy for the Venezuelan gangs.
Yeah, you're like the people back at the Rosenbergs back in the day that were spying for the Russians.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Hey, Mike, I got to run for a break. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay, we'll be back in 1 minute. And when we get back, I got to talk about My Pillow. And remember, if you want to support the program, a great way to do that is to go to My Pillow, use our promo code Kane at checkout. Free shipping on all orders site-wide. Okay. 35 seconds. If you're on hold, hang in there. A lot to cover. I mean, I haven't even scratched the surface of the surface yet. Okay, 25 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. If you're on hold, stand by. This, of course, is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. And I want to remind you, the free shipping offer continues at MyPillow.com. This will end without notice. MyPillow, and of course, it's with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. I'll get an email early in the morning, in the middle of the night, before I go on the air, when it's over, that it's over, to stop letting you all know about it. So take advantage of this while it is in effect. And there's huge savings on all of the most popular products at MyPillow.com. The pillows, the towels, the sheets, the pet beds, the socks, the pajamas, the slippers, the robes. It goes on, including the new collection of kitchen aprons and oven mitts and such. Huge, huge discounts, as much as 80% in fact, with our promo code Kane. And it's also free shipping site-wide. No matter how large or small the order, there's no catches, no gimmicks, no minimums, no maximums. No matter how small, no matter how large your order is, it is free shipping site-wide. So this is the time to really load up at MyPillow.com. Free shipping site-wide with our promo code Kane at checkout at MyPillow.com. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. All right. Let's go back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. This is Rich.
Hey, Richie.
I'm gonna bring up this Middle East thing. I personally believe what President Trump. I feel outraged. I know you do. You see people come back like that. Israel's a different animal. They give up 100 murderers, terrorists for one Israeli.
Yeah.
So, and they have their politics there are terrible because the left wing, just like in our country, they're undermining the right wing, Netanyahu, all the time.
Well, they got in Israel. They have law. There's been lawfare going on against Netanyahu. They're trying to put him in prison, like they were trying to put Trump in prison.
Exactly.
There's a lot of self-hating Jews in Israel's government.
Right, and I think what's going to happen here is that Israel is not going to do anything because, listen, have you seen Gaza lately? There's nothing left except the people all the way up by the border of Egypt. So what are you going to do? How much more?
No, Trump did not make an listen. President Hamas is a Trump wants the Iranian government gone. They for the rest of his, if you guys, I made a, I don't know if you saw it, Richie, but I went up to see the president's motorcade on Friday. And which I did many, many times in his first term. And if you've not seen this YouTube video I made, go and watch. Have you seen it, Richie?
No.
Oh, you should go watch it. I went up to see the president's motorcade, and when I went in his first term, the president was almost idling to go by the crowd so you could see him and he could see you and wave at you.
Yeah.
The beast, I've never seen this before, was traveling from the airport to Mar-a-Lago at full speed. And I was just a few feet from it. I felt the wind come off the beast on my body. I made a YouTube video of this. Over 55,000 people have seen it already. And that is because Iran, they have these hit squads with missiles, and they're trying to kill. He wants the Iran regime gone, and so does Netanyahu. So he's not messing around.
I think if Iran went out tomorrow, you still have Hamas, because these people.
Well, that's like saying that. Well, listen. Trump wiped out ISIS. We decimated Al Qaeda. There's still holdouts, but you can make it so they're not effective.
Yeah, but how are you going to get to these people when they're into the population? It's very dense. Matter of fact, they're all cornered in one part of the country.
I don't know. Trump did with ISIS what they said could not be done. He wiped them out.
Yeah, but they're people. The civilian population. Israel's already been called genocide. They're killing all the Palestinians. What do you think is going to happen? First of all, the United States he's not going to get involved. And if he does, we're going to be called genocide.
Richie, I mean, look, listen. No, not if they turn over the hostages, they will. Trump laid down the line. He didn't.
Yeah, but they won't turn over the hostages. I predict the hostages will not be turned over.
Well, then, and now again, we can't put a time frame on it, but Trump did not make an empty threat. There's no way he made an empty threat.
But he boxed himself in, and then he gave himself an out when he said, "But it's up to Israel." He boxed himself in. If he hadn't said, "But it's up to Israel,"
look, Richie, look at what you're a Vietnam veteran. Look at Vietnam then and now. I mean, Vietnam. Yeah. I wouldn't say Vietnam's an ally, but they're a trading partner of us. And look how the VC, who were god awful people, as much more than me. You were there. And now look, they're a big trading partner with the United States.
Yeah, but there's a difference. There was a difference, and I'm going to really quick explain the difference. The North Vietnamese were believed in their country. They believed in their leaders, even though their leaders were communists. They loved their country. They felt that the French invaded, and then they felt. That
I don't need a whole history lesson, but they hated.
They were nationalized.
Oh.
Yeah, they hated us, but they were nationalized. Oh. But you got in religion here. This is not something that only 150 years.
Look.
Centuries they hate Jews and Christians.
Oh, there's always going to be that. All right, Richie, I appreciate the call, but I'm going to disagree with you. I think Trump knows exactly what he's doing. Richie's always doom and gloom. There's no getting around that. We all know that. But no, Trump knows exactly what he's doing, and he very much wants to, by the end of this term, have the Iranian regime neutered, because he doesn't want to have to live his life driving around in cars at full speed like I saw him out on Friday. It really pissed me off that he has to live his life like that. And this story that came out yesterday that about some of the security measures he had to take during the campaign, it's disturbing. And listen, the Islamic terrorism around the world, Hamas, all of it, it's all Iran. They're behind 99% of it, okay? And remember, he tells that story so many times about General Raising Cane, that they had this attitude before he became president that you couldn't do anything about ISIS, and he wiped them out, and he did it quick. And the military knew how to do it. And I promise you, he did not give that ultimatum yesterday to Hamas, which was giving an ultimatum to Iran, without having some serious conversations with the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, and the military leaders about what we could do to stop Hamas. It's a sad thing. You see these hostages come out. These guys are sick. You watch when Hamas brings them out. These guys, they're covered with, they have their faces wrapped in their rifles. They put on a show. It's like a rally they put on, and they bring out the hostage. It's sick. It's sick. And President Trump is done with this peace process nonsense. And what he does is going to have to be done. All right, so we got some more here. This is this clip here is from Brett Baer. It's President Trump talking about Mexico.
very big car industry. They stole it from us. They stole it because our people were asleep at the wheel. So what happens is Canada's going to have a car. We're going to take the car industry. If we don't want to do with Canada, we're going to put a big tariff on cars. Could be a 50 or 100% because we don't want their cars. We want to make the cars in Detroit.
Yeah. See, the thing about the auto industry, Bill Clinton sold out the auto industry with NAFTA. Why? Bill Clinton, President Trump's being nice there because they asked him the other day, out of all of the former presidents, who would he call for advice? He said President Clinton. President Clinton's a pretty smart guy. I mean, he's got a problem, in the sexual things, but he's a very smart guy. If Hillary would have listened to Bill, she might have won. Oh my goodness, could you imagine? But Bill signed away our auto industry with NAFTA. That's why it moved to Mexico and Canada. And for a country to have a successful auto industry, they have to be able to have a population that can support that industry. And Mexico's people are too poor to support a Mexican car industry. Canada's population is really too small. So they need a country like the size of the United States' population to support, but they don't have their own car industry. They've taken ours. Because of Bill Clinton, NAFTA, and these stupid establishment people. I remember all my life I heard people say, you can't run the government like a business. Well, that's what Trump's doing, and it seems to work all right. How could anyone who's an American be opposed to what he's doing? What is wrong with taking the factories that are making American cars from Canada and Mexico and giving them offers they can't refuse to move those plants back to the United States? The answer to that question is nothing's wrong with it. And it's the right thing to do. He's creating American jobs. And those are high-paying jobs. And it's not just remember that one story he told? There was a factory in Mexico that's like the largest factory ever built in North America. It's like one of those big factories they have in China they were building in Mexico. That's insane. When they're only being built to bring into the United States. All right, now if you're on hold, stand by. We'll get back to some more calls after our top of the hour break. My name's Brian. Our number's toll free, no matter where you're listening. 1-888-465-2631. 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, of course, and all our calls are screenless. We screen them on the air. I say, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? That's it. That's the screening. So when you call in, people that are new, it gets a little confusing. I just put the call on hold. No one answers the phones. And we do that on purpose, okay? It makes the show more interesting, I think, because I don't know what's coming. If I see somebody on hold in their name, I can tell a lot by that. All right, 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Back after this. I tripped. You guys almost caught something good there viral. I tripped getting up there. All right, we'll be back in less than a minute. You guys missed it. I dropped my phone on the floor during right before the top of the hour. I bent down to pick it up, and I tripped. I almost fell against the green screen. It was almost a big accident. But I guess that's how you go viral online, right? MAGA goes viral. If you guys haven't watched my motorcade YouTube video, go and watch it. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Celebrating 48 years on the radio. And hour number 2 has begun already. The show is flying by. I've been going through some of the great statements made by President Trump yesterday, both in the Bret Baier interview and the Oval Office executive order signing ceremony that always turns into a press conference as well. But I'm going to take some of these calls. I know you've got a lot to say. All right, let's go. To the phones we go. You're on the air. Whoop, wrong line. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You have to stop calling the presidential limo the beast. Only the queer homosexual reporters in Hollywood and all the lamestream media call them.
Really? I've heard Don Jr. call it that, and Eric Trump, and the president. Okay,
Yeah,
all right. I mean, rethink your talking points. Okay. That's fake MAGA, people. Fake MAGA. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Chris from Pamela.
Hey, Chris. What's on your mind?
Oh, lots. I mean, listen, it's a great day to be in America. I just
Absolutely.
had my breakfast. I'm sitting on the porch here enjoying this weather,
No.
my tea, and I'm listening.
Do you have? Can your neighbors hear me? Do you have the speaker up loud enough for the neighbors to hear this MAGA show?
Well, we do sometimes. Our roommate Jimmy loves to blast the
Oh,
car.
that's
He's
awesome.
very passionate. But,
That's awesome.
He won't call because you'll have to use the dump button like every 30 seconds.
Oh, no.
No, he loves it. I think what's unique about my roommate, he's an artist and a musician, but he's conservative. That's kind of rare. But of course, he has skin in the game, like Steve says. He's raising a family, has a business, so
That'll.
taxes.
Well, this I've told this many times. I give you the I used to be, when I was young, I was like a liberal until the first year I did my taxes and I owed money. And I thought there was a mistake, so I did them over again. And then I was like, oh, that was it for me.
Wow, yeah. I mean, and look, like you mentioned this morning, paying taxes. What American, what citizen that needs this country to thrive, they're going to reject the idea of government efficiency, and they see the line by line away so far. We're just scratching the surface. And it's just crazy. We need this, and you're talking about debt ceilings and government shutdowns. We're wasting all this money. It's just not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Those Democrat leaders have sold our countries down the tube.
They're all on the tape.
The president.
They're all on the tape.
Yes, that's how they get rich.
And and Chelsea Clinton has come out and said, oh, that's not true. It was to the found. Chelsea Clinton, okay, she's like Tony Soprano's daughter. She was born into a mob criminal family. She's like Hunter Biden without all the drugs and hookers. She doesn't understand that that she lives in a $10 million apartment in New York City because her parents are corrupt. She just thinks that's how life is. So don't listen to Chelsea trying to defend the $84 million they gave her.
That's amazing, isn't it? And I'm so glad about our positive leadership in every cabinet position, right down starting from President Trump himself, because he says what he means what he says, and that's why I like the situation of leadership with the hostages. So yes, it's ridiculous, and I don't see too many of those university protesters talking about October 7th and all the other dirty things that those terrorists are doing. But soon as President Trump, everything goes down over there and we get those hostages back, they'll be protesting on the universities. And
I would like someone to try to find out how Chuck Schumer, whose first job out of law school was elected office in New York, how he amassed an $81 million fortune. Can somebody answer that?
That
I don't know. You know, maybe he knows some business techniques. I'd like to know those so I can get rich too.
Corruption, and he is the poster boy for term limits. You know, I'm originally from Westchester County, New York, White Plains. I've spoken to Steve about it quite a bit, but we need term limits, and he's the poster boy for that. He just needs to.
Yeah. Well, how many boroughs are there in New York? I'm not in. I always forget. Is it 4? 5? How many?
In New York City, 5.
5.
Mm-hmm.
There's 5 boroughs in here. Sometimes you'll hear people say that Florida is the 6th borough. I've heard that so many times over the years.
When I first came down, I was told that Florida is just a suburb of New York. Well, mostly because of retirement over the years and everything. But
you know what the worst thing is? When I was in high school, I worked at Publix. I was a bagger, a cashier, and a stock guy at Publix when I was in high school. I did that all the way until I started in radio. And this time of year is when the snowbirds come to Publix.
Right.
And they always and you know what New Yorkers like to tell you more than anything else? What do you think? What do New Yorkers like to tell you when you work at Publix? What do New Yorkers like to tell you more than anything else?
How great New York is.
Well, not just how great, how much better it is than Florida. They could buy orange juice, and it's not the brand they have in New York. The brand, it's always better in New York, even though they're here.
Oh boy.
You know?
Yeah, that's kind of an arrogance that.
Well, I used to work with this guy. This was when I was in high school. I used to work with this guy. His name's Larry, and he became a very wealthy lawyer here in South Florida. I talked to him many years, and he was in the Navy, and he hated the Navy, so he pretended to be an alcoholic to get out of the Navy early. And he worked. I know, he had to go to rehab and everything, you know. And I know he's a high, but he. So these New Yorkers this guy, I couldn't believe what he would do. So these people would come in and they would always tell you, they could be looking for a can of lima beans. And the lima beans they're much better in New York. And he would say to them, well, go back.
Exactly.
And they would never even hear him. They would never even hear him say it because, you know, you like the help. They don't pay attention. And he used to do this all the time. I couldn't believe it. Well, go back.
Yeah, they give me something else to deal with.
Oh my gosh! And when the first time or two I heard him do it, I was like, "Oh man, he's going to get fired." And not one time did they even hear what he was saying.
Wow. Yeah, they deserve that rap they get because you're right. I've heard it. If I had a buck for every time I've heard a bragging New Yorker, I'd have a boat now.
When my wife and I we many years ago when we bought our house, when we were looking for a house in Boca. We lived in Plantation. We were moving from Plantation to Boca. And I remember we were driving around with the realtor, and the drivers were nuts. You know, the way people were driving in Boca was out of control. And compared to Plantation, which is, you know, just south of the county line. And I said, well, yeah, because these are all New Yorkers.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Enough New York bashing. I'll get Steve mad at me.
Well, I just hope they don't bring too much baggage with them as they move from that horrible.
Well, the biggest problem they bring with them, is their Democrat voter registration habits. Okay, that's the biggest problem that we get from New Yorkers.
Exactly.
In Florida. All right, appreciate the call, Chris. Good call. Chris is a good guy, and you know what it is. Every time I've met Chris at 2 of our personal appearances, and at each one of the personal appearances that Chris has been at. Right when he's near me, there'll be some big blow up. Like there was an angry listener that we had to ban from the program confronted me at Wings Plus, and it was right next to Chris. Chris, the first time I met Chris is when Steve and I did that appearance at the mall, and they had the armed security remove Steve and me from the place. Chris was right there. I don't know, Chris. I'm starting to wonder about you, Chris. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning, Brian. It's Bob from Pompano Beach.
Hey, Bob. Speak up.
Yeah, so in continuing with this New York thing, you know, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm from New York. I've been down here a long time. And it's always the pizza's better in New York.
Oh, yeah.
The orange juice is better in
Oh,
New
yeah.
York. You know,
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Florida orange juice is better in New York than in Florida. That's the one that really cracks me up.
I don't think Anita Bryant would have loved that one.
Yeah.
But
It's all.
anyway, also, I'm born here in the United States in New York, and I resent the fact that people who come to this country, even legally, okay, and they say, my country, my country, my country. They don't say, oh, the United States is my country. They always talk about their country, Haiti, whatever they come from. And I resent that when I hear that, because you're here. If this is not your country, go back.
Yeah. Well, what's happened is they don't assimilate anymore. I've mentioned this many times. My great grandfather was Greek, came here from Greece, turn of the century, of the one before this one, like around 1900 or so. And my grandmother and her sisters and brothers, they didn't speak any Greek and I used to ask I said, Grandma, why don't you speak any Greek? She says, our dad wanted us to be Americans, not Greeks. And now that's been lost in this country, and that's by design of the left to erode our culture so they can take it over. They want to have a country, it's like the Tower of Babel, where nobody speaks the same language or shares a culture, and there's total chaos. So that's when there's chaos, that's when the liberals that's when they're really in control, when we can't be a united country.
Absolutely. And, I had a similar experience from New York. My great-grandparents came from Italy, and they wanted to assimilate into society and speak English and all that. And, I never learned to speak Italian because of it. I'm not saying that it's totally right if you're bilingual and you learn your language, but you learn English. That is acceptable. But you're right. There's no assimilation anymore. Everybody comes here and wants to do their own thing, and they don't. And also with patriotism. I mean, I'm glad. Thanks for Donald Trump to bring back patriotism.
Well, I like how speaking of New York, though, to get things back on track, okay? A couple things out of New York. Justice Department dropped all the lawfare charges against Mayor Adams, okay, which is really freaking them out. But Elon Musk and Doge found out that FEMA just last week sent $57 million, or was it 59? I think it was $57 million to New York City to pay to house illegals in luxury New York City hotel rooms. And by the way, FEMA, they said, didn't have money to help the hurricane victims in the Carolinas, but they last week, but violating President Trump's order.
Wow. Yeah, and they're giving only $770 to the California victims of the fires. I mean, really?
Yeah.
I mean, same thing in North Carolina with $700. This government, really, after all this spending you do, you can't help American people in need.
You know what I wonder about these illegals? Now, that $57 million was just last week, and I don't know what period that covered, but a couple things about it. And maybe there are some New Yorkers who know. When Elon Musk said luxury hotels, so are these like the big hotels that like I would want to stay in if I went to New York in years past? And are the illegals ordering room service? Are they allowed to order room service in these hotels on our dime? Would you be surprised?
That's a good point.
I'm serious.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, absolutely. They roll out the red carpet for these illegals, which I'm so thankful that Donald Trump has taken the lead and the only one that's ever going to correct this BS, because that's exactly what it is. It's terrible. It's un-American to be doing what it was doing so far. And I agree with you, Brian, 100%. This has got to stop.
Well, it has. And whoever sent the $57 million from FEMA to New York after President Trump's executive order forbidding it, they're in some very likely legal trouble. I mean, that's total embezzlement of some big money.
Well, see, that's what I was talking to someone when Trump and Elon Musk uncovered a lot of this stuff, of illegal stuff. You think that people are going to start to go to jail and account for their crimes? I don't know.
Now, the final question is, if New Yorkers think everything's better in New York, why do they come to Florida?
Right. Well, it's like, exactly. I mean, it's like the same thing with some of the immigrants that come here. Well, if you think it's not your country, why are you here?
Yeah. Yeah. Why aren't you in Belize or Guatemala. All right, man, take care. Good call. Thanks so much. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian, back after this. We'll be back in just over a minute. Well, a minute, actually. 1 minute from now, we'll be back live on the radio. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, man. And if you would like to call in, the number is toll-free from wherever you're watching, and it's pinned in the chat. And if you're new, we're broadcasting on a whole bunch of FM radio stations. And when I'm on the radio, I'm live streaming here on YouTube in the mornings. And we're here every weekday morning. So subscribe and click that notification bell. All right, stand by. Just a few short seconds left. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. You know, a couple weeks back, I was telling you guys that Tom Laporta from Laporta Contracting and Roofing was at the Greek Festival in Fort Lauderdale. Well, this weekend, he's going to be at the Italian Festival in Pompano. I'll tell you more about it later in the week, but Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing will be at the Italian Festival, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 14th, 15th, and 16th in Pompano at St. Coleman's, which is 1200 South Federal Highway in Pompano. So if you want to see Tom Laporta, stop by, and you got your chance to meet him. You'll like it. And if you have some roof work that you need done, give him a call. You know, Tom Laporta not only can handle any type of structure. I got a call yesterday from a guy on the air who has a church roof he's needing work on, and he had Tom Laporta come out and take a look at the church roof. Yeah, he does church roofs. In fact, he's done quite a few. He has a specialty in that. Also, single-family homes, commercial, municipal. He works with every type of roofing material, and Laporta Roofing can also handle a job of any size. So if you've got an apartment complex you own, or an HOA community, or a huge condo community that has hundreds of buildings, Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing can handle that job too. All right, I'm going to give you his number. Now, this number is his cell phone. He gives our listeners his cell phone number. You can call or text. I'm also going to give you the website, but the number on the website is not the cell phone number. So you want to write this down. Here's Tom Laporta's cell phone. You can call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. All right, we'll go back to the phones. We've covered a lot so far. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mark Jameson, calling from Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I'm calling, I just wanted to say Trump, I'm an avid supporter of Trump, voted for him all 3 times.
It sounds like a butt coming.
It's not really a butt. I'm saying the only thing he surprised me with was the Gaza thing.
Why, you don't like Jews?
No, actually, my son-in-law is a Jew.
Oh.
No, I love Jews. No, the reason I'm calling is he doesn't need that can of worms. I mean,
what can of worms?
Palestinians, Gaza.
Of course he does. You just don't understand what's going on. Hamas are the terrorists in Gaza, right? Hamas.
Yeah.
Hamas is a front. They're a fake organization. Hamas is Iran. About 99% of the Islamic terrorism, maybe even 100%, but I'm just saying 99% just to make sure I'm accurate, okay, is all Iran.
Yeah.
And in Trump's first term, he took out the Iranian General Soleimani, who was in charge of the global Islamic terrorism, okay? And
Yeah,
Iran, let me finish. And Iran has been trying to take President Trump out ever since. I was talking in the last hour, I went to see his motorcade. I made a YouTube video about it. And the beast, the presidential limousine, was traveling at full speed. I'd never seen it do that before. It's because of the threat from Iran. There was a story yesterday that came out that during the campaign, he was not going to the campaign stops on Trump Force One. He was using a friend's plane because the Iranian hit squads had surface-to-air missiles and they were looking for him. So President Trump does not want to spend the rest of his life avoiding Iran. He wants Iran's government to collapse. Hamas is Iran. And what he's doing in Gaza is a step towards the collapse of Iran. He's already got that can of worms.
Yeah, I was just going to say one thing. 90% of the Palestinians support Hamas. If you talk to any Palestinian...
Well, I don't know that that's true, because if you know what happens if you're a Palestinian in Gaza and you don't support Hamas publicly, what do they do to you?
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Okay, so I wouldn't be so sure. I wouldn't be so sure that 90% of them support Hamas. I know they have to say that because they don't want to, have something happen to them, but I don't know. But regardless of that, no, it's got to be done. He's already got that can of worms.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to change your opinion on that, or?
I pray it works out okay, but...
Well, it's going to be rough. I mean, these are not civilized people. Look what they did to Israel, that unprovoked, barbaric, savage attack where they murdered and kidnapped people and raped them and murdered them. And it's insane what they did.
Yeah, that was...
Barbaric.
That was awful.
Barbaric. It's not even, it's pre-medieval. It's like prehistoric-like attacks. That's a kind of savage.
Well, on that note, do you remember all the Palestinian civilians was cheering that on?
On 9/11? Yeah, well, they're brainwashed monsters. So, yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? And so far as them supporting Hamas, most Americans support the Marines, but how many Americans are actually in the Marines? So
That's true.
I
I'm
mean,
a veteran myself.
Okay, so there you go. It doesn't matter. They've been brainwashed to hate Jews. Like Candace Owens. Those of you who know Candace Owens. Candace Owens is now went on another anti-Semitic rant blaming Israel for the attacks of 9/11 on the United States. She's really gone down a sicko place. See, what's happened here is a lot of people have made some type of equivalency between Ukraine support and our support of Israel, and they're totally different things. There's no similarities.
I agree with you there. It's just Israel's done everything they can. They've bent over backwards.
Well, that's why he's getting rid of the Palestinians, Trump, and moving them.
Gaza.
You can't have.
They can't figure
That's
it
why
out.
they're removing the. That's why Trump is going to relocate the Palestinians. It's hopeless.
Yeah, but the Egyptians and the Saudis and the Jordanians, none of them want them.
That's not true. Jordan and see, there's a big secret that the media don't want you to know. Jordan and Egypt, but mostly Jordan, are loaded with Palestinians. Most Palestinians are in Jordan, more than in Gaza.
Right. My son-in-law actually told me about most of them are from Jordan.
Yeah. So So they'll be among their people there. And the Jordanian king's got some problems, but he likes America.
I hope it works out.
Well, it's going to be rough, but what they've been doing now my whole life in Israel isn't working out. Right?
Yeah, I guess my narrative is I was surprised that Trump walked into that.
What do you mean he walked into it?
The man's sharp.
Then yeah, he's very sharp. He's come up with an idea that no one considered before. See, the left and the media hate Israel. They hate Jews, and they always side with the terrorists whose lives are dedicated to killing Jews. They always have. So you're going to get a very distorted analysis in the American media about what's going on over there. Listen, I got to run for the bottom of the hour break, but thanks for the call, and maybe you'll reconsider your view about the president after that. All right, you're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, on the radio since 1977. My name is Brian Craig. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back after this. All right, we'll be back in 1 minute. Twenty seconds. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's 35 minutes after the hour. Tuesday morning already. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Did you see what Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth did yesterday? It was masterful. Masterful. So there was a lot of controversy, because the liberals have been, they changed Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty, right? And if you remember, Fort Bragg was named after a Confederate general. And the Democrats, they really started doing this during Obama's time, but they tried to continue it. They were going around America renaming things because they were named after Klansmen and Confederates. And what they neglected to tell people is Fort Bragg was named after, indeed, a Confederate general, and those Confederates were racist. They were trying to keep blacks in slavery, But the reason all these things were named after them is because they were Democrats. And what the Democrats have been doing when they take down monuments or rename army bases, they're trying to wipe out the racist history of the Democrat Party. Remember, they took down the statue of Robert E. Lee. And what happens, because everyone goes around with their iPhone and Googles, a family, they're driving by Fort Bragg and they look it up and they find out that, oh my goodness, Fort Bragg was named after this racist Confederate general, probably went on to be a Klansman, but he was a Democrat. Or they see a statue to General Lee or another Confederate, and they find out, they look on their phone, oh my goodness, General Lee was a Democrat? I had no idea. So the Democrats are trying to wipe out their own history by renaming all these things and taking memorials down. It has nothing to do with race. It just, they don't want blacks to know that the Democrat Party is the party of Jim Crow and slavery. That's why they do it. And what Pete Hegseth did, that was so outside of the box kind of thinking. So Fort Liberty is no more. It's back to Fort Bragg. And Pete Hegseth, as Defense Secretary, signed a secretarial order changing the name back to Fort Bragg, but he named it after a different Bragg. Now, the original Fort Bragg name came from that racist Democrat, pro-slavery Confederate general. This Bragg was a private first class who served in the Second World War, and his last name was Bragg, too. So what Pete Hegseth has done here is he's changed the name back to, in a way that they can't claim that this was some racist. So they got their historic name back. That is some real outside-the-box kind of thinking, isn't it? It's very funny. And the media, they're pretty upset about this, and they have these stories all over the place trying to tear down Pete Hegseth by saying, oh, yeah, he changed the name with a caveat, What he did was so smart. Who would have thought of that? Let's find another. There's got to be another American hero named Bragg, and he found this private first class, and boom, that's it. I thought it was pretty smart. All right, so let me get back to some of these sound bites of the president, because President Trump, I've been playing some audio from the president today. Some of them are from the Bret Baier interview, but some of them are from his executive order signing ceremony, and those always turn into Oval Office press conferences. Here he is signing the executive order on the straws. Now, this, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know his name or what his official job title is, but I love this guy that always hands President Trump the executive orders. He is so proper and respectful to the president, and he explains exactly what the president is about to sign. And isn't he great? I love this guy. And President Trump, they do that for a couple of reasons. One, President Trump wants the American people and the press to know what he's signing because it's all great. But remember, Biden was signing a whole stack of executive orders that went like up to the ceiling. And he said on television, I don't even know what I'm signing. I'm just signing.
I've had them many times, and on occasion they break, they explode. If something's hot, it don't last very long, like a matter of minutes, sometimes a matter of seconds. It's a ridiculous situation. So we're going back to plastic straws. I think it's okay.
Man, I want one of those pins, don't you? Okay. And just yesterday, I went to Chipotle, right, with my wife, and and I got takeout to bring home, and they gave us paper straws. And because of the paper straw issue at restaurants, we have our own straws at home. We buy straws. So we had to get one of the, and this thing about I'd forgotten that Biden signed an executive order. I remember Rush Limbaugh used to talk about this. He says, Democrats, you give them long enough, they want so much power, they're going to regulate sugar and other things, and here they are doing it. And President Trump, he said the other day over the weekend, he said paper straws disintegrate. They do. Don't you hate paper straws? How petty to require that? And it's so stupid, right? You go and you get a drink at a restaurant. They give it to you in a plastic cup with a plastic cover with a paper straw to save the environment. When you're done drinking it, you throw it away in a plastic bag. I'm wondering if there's someone from the paper straw company that was a big dim donor or something, and that's how they got that through. I don't know. Wrong line. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, this is going to be good. I can hear them in the background. Once, twice. All right. Oh, are you there? Did you pick up the phone finally, or am I going to move on?
Hello?
Yep, I was just hanging up on you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey. Good morning, mahalo. This is Alan again from Samoa.
Alan from America, Samoa.
Yo. Good morning, by the way.
What's up?
It's like 1:40 in the morning over here.
Oh my goodness.
I just want to make one quick comment about people. They're talking about Democrats changing everything, trying to change their history. I've been waiting for years, if not decades, for them to change their name, Democrat. Every time I hear Democrat or Democrat Party, it reminds me of slavery, lynching, segregation.
Yep.
So when are you going to change that?
Yeah.
I mean, if they're really downhearted to change something like that reminds them of their past, change their name.
Well, they're trying to wipe out their own history because the Democrats have lost a lot of minority support. Trump got more Hispanic voters than Kamala. And I remember not too many years ago, before Trump came down the escalator, if you saw a black Republican, it was so rare. It was like you would go to a Republican club meeting and the guest speaker would be this black Republican. And they would give this talk like they were a freed slave that had escaped the plantation. And they would talk about how they escaped the Democrat plantation, and everybody would sit there in awe that this black man's saying conservative things. It's not unusual to be a black conservative these days. So, there's many reasons why that is. One, we have economic equality finally with the different skin colors, but another one is blacks are more informed about the racist past of the Democrats, and the Democrats are trying to wipe out their racist past by renaming bases and taking down monuments. They're trying to alter the historical record.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. But like I said, I just, again, just my humble opinion is that the Democrat Party, the name itself, that's the beacon. I mean, that's the, whatever you want to call it, that's the main, I don't know what you want to say, how you call it, but every time I hear Democrat, it reminds me of the past when they had slaves. So if they want to change it, why don't you start there?
But if not, no, they don't want to do it.
No, they don't. All right, good to hear from you from America Samoa. You guys remember when long distance was like a big deal? Now, one thing that the left have really been hitting the president on are prices. He was signing executive orders yesterday, and they asked him about prices. Here's what he said. Yeah, we're the #1 consumer nation in the world. So these companies, they will move here for the same reason American companies move to China, because they got good deals. Because they want to be able to sell their crap to Americans. Oh, my goodness. The show's flying by. It's time for our last break of the hour. I lost track of time. I want to remind everyone, don't forget the free shipping offer continues for a limited time at mypillow.com with our promo code Kane. You know, I don't know when this will end. It will end without notice, but if you go to mypillow.com, there's huge sales, the mega sales going on. You can save as much as 80% off of top MyPillow products with our promo code Kane, and it's free shipping on all orders. No minimum purchase, no matter how small, no matter how large the order is. It is free shipping site-wide with our promo code Kane at checkout. The pillows, the sheets, the mattresses, the mattress toppers, no matter what you order, the slippers, the bathrooms, huge discounts, plus free shipping site-wide. But you got to use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, at mypillow.com. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. We'll take our last break of the second hour and be right back. All right, we'll be back in about 25 seconds. Alan, thank you so much. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is most definitely where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Oh, this just dropped last night. PBS is as liberal gets. They've closed their DEI office. Diversity, equity, inclusion, gone. PBS has closed their DEI office. And, the reason they did that is President Trump gave an executive order to end it. They're afraid of losing their funding. That is amazing. But, I think a lot of these Democrats are excited to see it go. I think even Democrats, because they deal with liberals more than we do, have been held hostage by this. I give an example of this, okay, that tells you, these Hollywood liberals. I was watching an interview with Jonathan Frakes, who plays Riker on Star Trek The Next Generation, and he directs the new Star Treks, and he was talking about how he was directing a scene with an actor. He told the story like it was a cute, funny story, but he told the story about how one of the actresses, who's black, wouldn't stick to the script. And she was making up her own lines. And probably because she couldn't remember her lines. And he told this story, which was really a sad story. He said she was, she comes from the world of improv, and he had all these excuses, and she had some good lines. And he didn't tell her to stick to the script. He actually called on the phone the executive producers to ask them what to do. And they said, she's good. Let her keep her lines. Let her make up the lines as she goes along. And the reason Jonathan Frakes did that is he is being held hostage by the DEI of Hollywood. If he wants to work, he has to let black actors steamroll him. I was watching a couple other things were similar things that happened. I need to tell 5 stories to get the point out. But I think a lot of liberals are glad to see woke go and glad to see DEI shut down, because I think a lot of liberals, it sounded like a good idea until they started being held hostage to it. And PBS, boy, they caved pretty quick. All right, now if you're on hold, hang in there. This is another clip of President Trump yesterday from the Oval Office executive order signing ceremony, and he's talking about the border crossings. Listen. Now, this is Stephen Miller that he's called upon to speak. Wow, I mean, that's amazing. So border crossings down 90%. And was that the right number? Make sure I got the right number. Oh, no, I stand corrected. Border crossings down 95%. And, the cartels really weren't drug cartels anymore. They were human trafficking cartels. The drugs was like a side business that the cartels were doing. Now they can't get the people in or the drugs. So there's about to be an economic collapse in Mexico. I bet you, they talk about egg prices. I bet the drug prices, the illegal drug prices, have gone through the roof right now because the trafficking has been almost stopped from the southern border. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This guy really hates black people.
Oh, that's me? You talking about me to someone?
He really hates black people.
Who you talking to about me? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Black. DEI has never benefited black people. DEI benefits snotty-nosed, white, entitled white women. And this guy's an educated guy. DEI doesn't benefit black people. DEI benefits liberal white women. You're an educated guy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know that.
Uh-huh.
You know that. Dude.
Really? If
you know that.
if
Well,
if
you're,
let me
you're
ask you,
forever race
if
baiting.
DI if
And I'm not going to hang up. I'll verbally spar with you.
well, you got to
Except
stop.
when
You're
like
going to
to
stop
leave your
talking. If you
call.
don't stop talking, I'm going to hang up on you so I can get a word in.
Oh, of course you are, you little short man.
You done?
What,
Okay.
what have you ever done for this country, Brian? You
All
ever
right.
worn the uniform? You ever crawl through the mud?
Yeah, I served in the military for the same amount of time as President Biden, Obama, and Clinton.
You think I care about Biden?
I know. Okay. All right. Thank you for your call. If he's not going to let me talk, the open phones are on Friday. If DEI has not benefited black people, why is it when I watch television, all the TV commercials have no white people in them of any gender, right? It's all black people. Obviously, it's benefiting. I felt like I interrupted a conversation that he was having about me. Did you guys get that feeling? Now, I want to tell you about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's. You know, the Sloman's doorbell camera, free doorbell camera offer with the installation of your Sloman Shield is great for yourself, but you know, you can also get it as a gift for your adult children, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. You know, it's a great gift to give. Sloman's will give you a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Sloman's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They're going to give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for the doors and windows, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. The number, give them a call right now, no matter where you're located, 1-800-ALARM-ME. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. Get your free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. It'll change your life. 1-800-ALARM-ME. Very easy number to remember. All right, so getting back to this, you know, this talk about the trade wars being a bad idea, look at what's happened. Border crossings are down 95% because President Trump threatened tariffs to raise the import taxes on Mexico. It's done. It's completely done. And regardless of all this griping from Canada, Canada's on board too. Now, they got people in their government that are mouthy and saying stupid things, but we have the same thing here. You know, we call them Democrats here. I guess they're labor up there. But America's back, and America means business. Now, I want to end the hour with what I started the show with at 6, because I want to talk about this some more in the next hour. And I got a lot more stories. I have not even gotten to 1/10 of my show prep today. There's so much breaking news. President Trump has the busiest news cycle going on in the history of any presidency. Really. It's amazing what's going on, and a lot more is going to happen. Wait until Elon Musk rescues those astronauts that Biden marooned on the space station. Oh, all these Elon Musk haters are gonna hate that. But anyway, yesterday in the Oval Office, President Trump told Hamas they have until noon on Saturday to release the hostages, or he's going to give Israel the okay that they can do whatever it is they have to do. And we know that both Netanyahu and Trump want Hamas wiped out. They want Iran wiped out. And there's a lot of discussion going on in the media right now as to whether or not President Trump actually means that. And I'm here to tell you, yes, he does. President Trump does not make idle threats. He's very serious. And it's interesting because there's some confusion about that. He said noon Saturday. Is that Washington, D.C., Mar-a-Lago Eastern Standard Time or Gaza time? And President Trump's usually very precise with his statements. I think he left that vague on purpose. But Hamas better figure it out. Now, these Hamas people, have you watched any of them releasing the hostages? It's very difficult to watch. They have a rally. They bring everybody down. They get their Hamas terrorists there with their AKs and their faces wrapped. And then they bring them up and parade them on stage, one or two at a time. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And it's going to end. Now, that doesn't mean that at 12:01 on Saturday, there's going to be a military action. It might take a week or 2 weeks or a month or a day. Who knows? Because it takes time to, make moves with the military and everything. But believe me, President Trump has been holding Netanyahu back, who wants to make a big move and finally end all of this. And he also said over the weekend in these interviews that he did that he is very serious and plans on taking Gaza and making it some type of protectorate of the United States and relocating the Palestinians. That he talked about it yesterday and over the weekend. So that's a done decision. All right, we're going to take our break for the top of the hour. 2 hours down already, only 1 hour to go. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Our number is toll free, 1-888-465-2631. We'll be back with your calls after this. Okay, we'll be back in 30 seconds. Okay. If you're on hold, hang in there. And if you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. The third hour of Florida's longest running radio show has begun. Our number, toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. I've covered quite a bit. I'll take a call or two, and I got some news stories that I got to get to before the end of the show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey.
Oh, hey, Jay. Good morning.
Oh, yeah, good morning. I was listening to you talk about the fact that Trump is going to go over there and take them people's country, but you said that if they don't give the hostages back by Saturday, that he was going to tell, that other nut to do whatever he wants to do. Let me ask you a question. What if they take those actions and they decide, because they're crazy people anyway, what if they decide to kill all the hostages? You okay with that?
No, I don't want anybody to die.
But wait a minute.
I'm a pacifist.
But if they don't have too much of anything left, the poor people, I mean...
Well, that's not true, Jay. That's just not true.
One little raid they did on the Jews, and they wiped out their whole entire country.
One little raid. Wait, excuse me. Hold on a second. What little raid? I'm confused. I'm confused. You said one little raid on the Jews. What was that? Where was this little raid? I missed that.
You ain't miss it. That's how they got the hostages.
You're talking about the music festival attack? You call that a little raid?
Yeah.
That was a massive raid where they killed and kidnapped hundreds.
Yeah, but how many millions did they kill because of it?
It was an unprovoked attack, like Pearl Harbor or 9/11.
You know, it's one thing you don't seem to realize about the whole situation over there between them. With the way that man wiped out their country, he didn't do nothing but make a whole bunch of more terrorists. Because those kids are going to grow up, and they're going to hate Jews just as much now because of what they did to their country. So I see it's only tit for tat over there.
What? I got a question, Jay.
They're going to get them back. They just go back and forth.
I got a question.
And then Trump came up with the best idea. You can't have your country no more. Go find someplace else to live. So he can make a resort.
I got a question. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Why do you hate Jews?
Hope it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Why do you hate Jews?
I don't hate Jews. I hate what they did to those people over there.
Well, who's they?
The Jews.
So you don't like you hate the Jews?
No, I only hate the Jews that did what they did over there.
What?
The way they destroyed them people's countries, the way they killed those kids, the way they starved them to death, the way their babies died, the way there's no more hospitals, the way they bombed hospitals.
So I'm trying to understand what you're saying. So you're saying that when Israel's attacked and their people are raped and murdered and taken hostage, that Israel should just suck that up and accept the losses? What are they supposed to do?
Of course not. They're supposed to fight back. But there's a certain level. They took their level to like the same way they were killed from the Germans. They did the same thing to those people that the Germans did to them. So you tell me that's right?
It's necessary, sadly.
Well, then it's necessary that the Jews get back whatever they get.
Oh my gosh! All right, I would thank you for the call, but if I did that, I would be lying, and I don't want to lie to you or this audience. You know, I tolerate a lot when it comes from liberal callers. I do, and I'm very open-minded, and I love people to call in with differing viewpoints. But anti-Semitism, I can only take so much of that. It's like salt, small little goes a long way, and that was really starting to go down just a very ugly place. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right, you're out. We'll try another one. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hey, it's Pastor Trevor up in Vero Beach. How are you?
Oh, hey, Pastor. Give me 1 second here. It's always. Oh, there we go. Boom. All right. What's on your mind, Pastor Trevor?
Well, real quick, and that probably sounds better. I don't want to be repeating anything, but you'd mentioned before you went on air about Periscope, and that's actually where I first found you. And I've been listening ever since. And I think if you remember one of those mornings, I think you were skateboarding outside the studio and like took a big tumble or something.
That was my first big skateboard accident, yes.
Yeah, but I didn't know if you saw on your Google Maps, if you zoom over to Gulf of America, it's now listed.
Yeah, Gulf of America is on Google Maps, but I have an iPhone, and the last I checked, Apple has not updated their maps yet. Let me check. They will.
Well, on Google Maps it is. So
yes.
That's all I was mentioning. I thought that was pretty interesting that it happened real quick.
Yeah, it's still Gulf of Mexico. The Apple iMaps is an inaccurate map. It still says Gulf of Mexico. That's really amazing that not only did Google Maps change that, it's being changed by the FAA and every agency of government. It's pretty easy to change the name of something. I guess a country can call things whatever they want.
I suppose so.
Pretty cool.
Well, anyways, that's all I had, but it's been great listening to you guys, and
All right.
I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, appreciate the call. Pastor Trevor from Vero. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Can you hear me?
I can.
IB, hey brother.
Hey, IB, hold on one second, IB. Hold on, I'm getting my line. What time? Oh, I got time for you. Hold on. I got time for you. Go ahead, IB. You're on the air.
I'll make it quick then. Jay, you are a moron, bro. I mean, at your age, you're just a disgusting moron. We're not counting people for people. We're not counting the number of people. What we're trying to do is cut off the head of the snake, okay? And the snake has, a lot of fangs out there. So it isn't about, they just came and invade my home like your sister, your daughter, your mother just got raped, pillaged, and plundered. Are you just going to kill the amount of people that came into your house and did it? Or do you want to get the guy that sent them into your house to do it? You don't just stop at the people that came into the house. You got to get rid of all of them.
That's correct.
It's the process to do that, and this is what we're trying to do, you idiot. Okay?
Yeah.
So you need to pay attention, and they are not a country. What do you think this talk is about? Two-state solution. They don't have a state. That means they don't have a country. You all were propagandists. Keep saying the word country. No, we're not going to get country ingrained into our head. They don't have a country. They don't have a land. They are discarded by their own people, you idiot.
Well,
so
and,
pay attention, okay?
and I would imagine, we don't know where the hostages are, but I imagine they're pretty safe because that's the only currency that Hamas and Iran have. And if you've seen Gaza, it does look like Berlin in 1945. So they're obviously...
I'm going to be the bad guy. I'm going to be the bad guy, okay? When they first took the hostages, I already called it a write-off, and I'm sorry to be dehumanized to have to say that.
Easy for you to say.
I write them off. I know. The reason I do that is we have collateral in war. And I'm sorry that the way they're treating them, those people are going to go back to their lives being scarred for life and have problems with them themselves and never be the same again. And I would not have to feel like I would want to live that way. And I don't mean I want them to die. Of course not. But we're talking about savages. They will, some of them will be probably shot in the end before they probably passed over. And we must send them back to the river.
If they, listen, okay? Iran, Hamas is Iran. So Iran knows that Trump and Netanyahu want to wipe out their government. If Iran allows those hostages to be murdered, Iran has nothing to deal with. It would be over for Iran. They would be in so much hot water. Trump and Netanyahu would take them out.
For you people that don't know, Israel already ran airplane sorties. That means they already infiltrated back in the 70s. Imagine what they're going to do with the planes that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
They pushing the wrong guy. FAFO. And that's where we are right now.
All right, IB. Take care. Appreciate the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Barbara in Baltimore.
Hey, Barbara. All right.
I was feeling pretty good this morning, and I turned you on and heard something that made me almost sick. Jay, all I can say is Jay is not an anti-Semite. He is a hateful racist, and it is my prayer that he has not come in contact with any child, any person that he could possibly influence.
Oh, my goodness.
BS. Because that's what we hear and what we see in the schools right now is people like him.
That's true.
That have made this country what it is as far as the violence with blacks attacking white people. And yes, I did say that because they are. I have a friends really, whose kids are harassed daily in school.
Oh, sorry about that. I lost you there for a second. Are you okay? Oops. I disconnected the calls, but hey, that happens sometimes. We got to take a break anyway. Apologize, Barbara. I hit the wrong button. It happens on occasion. I'm behind on my coffee. All right, we're going to take our first break of the third hour. Call us on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Our number 1-888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we'll be back in less than a minute. I mistakenly disconnected Barbara. That happens sometimes. If you're on hold, hang in there. Barbara, if you're on hold, I'll go through the calls. She could be this one or that one. I'll see. Barbara could be, I think she might be one of these callers on hold, and I'll have an idea of which one. I just hit the wrong button. It happens sometimes. Okay, 40 seconds and we'll be back. Oh, if I hang up on you, you'll know. Believe me. Yeah, if you'd like to call in, the number is toll free and it is pinned in the live chat. Ten seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to go back to the phones. Barbara, maybe one of the callers that is back on the line. I disconnected her by accident, and she was going off on Jay, so you're welcome to call back in, Barbara. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian.
Yeah, sorry, Barbara. I thought that was you. That's why I took you first. I apologize for disconnecting you with your analysis of... Jay, the thing about Jay from Jersey, okay?
I needed a break. Brian. That break, I needed that break.
Well, that's why we don't screen the calls, because you cool off. That's why we answer the calls cold on the air, because people get that break, they cool off, and they lose that passion. So that's one of the reasons we do the call screenless. But the thing about Jay, and a lot of people get upset with me for putting him on the air. His way of thinking is more common in the liberal black community than people realize. It really is. It's scary.
Hello.
Yeah.
And it should be scary.
That's how they talk when white people aren't around. When white people aren't around, that's how they talk.
And it's amazing to me how he's talking about the worst savages. I've never seen anything like what happened to the Jews on October 7th.
Not since the days of cavemen.
To even say that.
Yeah, it was like,
And what angered President Trump angers me. Those people were treated so poorly. They were just emaciated. Hamas has not shown sign of life for 95 hostages. I do not believe they have those hostages alive. That's why they're sending them out 3 at a time while they get 100 soldiers.
Yeah.
3 more, and they get another 100. They're building a brigade. They are building a force because they already have the weapons, and that's what they're doing. That's what they plan to do. And I think Jay doesn't remember or doesn't know what happened when Jews owned the stores in the neighborhood. That's when the saying, it took a village. It takes a village to raise a child. Jews would never sell alcohol to your child in that neighborhood because they knew your parents.
Mm-hmm.
They would not sell tobacco to young people because they knew your parents, and they know they wouldn't give it to their own.
Yeah.
Once the Jews ran out of the black communities, and I'm telling you, this is nationwide. I believe it because in the military, I've seen a lot traveling around with my husband for 27 years. I'm not going to say who got the stores, who bought the stores and put the glass up so that you couldn't steal and all that. And they could care less about your child.
Well, you're right about that because like when I was in high school, now that was in the 80s, and kids in high school wanted to buy liquor, you knew where to go. You know what I mean? Because they would sell it to you in high school. They didn't care. There were certain neighborhoods and certain stores you could go to. So you're right. Jay, is just a bum, and he looks. Hey, Barbara.
And those stores that you're talking about, David, Brian, those stores that you're talking about are in the black community. Trust me when I tell you. I live right now. A lot of the Sikh Indians own the liquor stores. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah. All right, Barbara.
And
you made some good points. All right, take care. Thanks for the call, Barbara. Let her get back on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Patty from New Jersey.
Hey, Patty.
How's it going?
All right.
So, this whole thing with the hostages, there was a line in the sand drawn by Trump. He was told that he wanted the hostages or the body of the hostages returned if the people had been killed, so that families could have some closure. I am suspecting that they when they released the first set of hostages, they weren't in that bad of shape, and as they've released them, they've gotten worse and worse. And apparently, President Trump said that this last hostage that came out was in terrible condition.
You can see it on television. They look like he said they look like they look like Holocaust victims is what they and I want you to understand. You hear how angry Jay was towards Jews, right? And people in that call. Think about that. The people that are holding the hostages are angrier than Jay at the Jews. Could you imagine if that's your jailer?
Families could have.
All right, All right, I'll put you on hold, and then we'll go here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Lawrence from Dania Beach, Florida.
Hey, Juan. You're on the air. You called me. Lawrence, I'm sorry.
I want a job as Trump's cartographer. I'm on. You mentioned this. The Gulf of America is all good and well, but I put on that you could also have.
What?
Canada becomes Trump Dakota. Greenland becomes Trump land. The Panama Canal becomes Melania Canal. And finally, the Atlantic Ocean is the American Ocean.
Oh, that sounds like a pretty funny thing. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. All right. I don't know if you'll get the job, but maybe you can be like a writer for a conservative comedian. Greg Gutfeld. Maybe Greg Gutfeld will hire you to write some of his material.
I love your show. Thanks.
All right, take care. By the way, both Greg Gutfeld and Tucker, I'm sorry, not Greg Gutfeld, both Tucker and Megyn Kelly were fired by Fox News. Megyn Kelly, I'm sorry, I think Megyn might have left. Megyn left on her own for that Today Show deal that fell through. So I take that back from Megyn, but Tucker was fired. In fact, not only was Tucker fired because of the reporting that he was doing. There's a reason why I'm bringing this up. There's been a development that is quite troubling that I'm going to share with you in just a moment that I'm leading up to, so if you're wondering why. But what Tucker was reporting on was the J6 tapes, remember? Kevin McCarthy gave Tucker the J6 tapes. They went through them, and he had a whole week planned of J6 tape coverage. The first night, now when you do something like that, and you have like a 5-night event, the way you do it is you start with something really good, but not your best. You start with something really good and shock everybody, and then through the week, you show more. And then on the last day, which could have either been Thursday or Friday, you come in with the big one that really shocks everyone. And he only got one night of coverage, and that night of coverage that he got, Tucker, was with the shaman being shown around the Senate building by the Capitol Police, trying to find an unlocked door to take the shaman into the Senate chamber where they had a pool photographer from the fake news waiting to take a picture of him. Remember that? That was dramatic. He didn't show any more tape for the rest of the week, and they fired him, because of that. So Tucker Carlson has been the poster boy, for very good reason, of the new media. Megyn Kelly's there too. I do believe she left on her own, if I remember correctly, for that Today Show. I may be wrong. But anyway, they've both been very strong opposing corporate media, fake news, and in particular Fox News, Megyn Kelly, and they both have massive podcasts. In fact, Tucker Carlson's podcast acquisition of the company that carries their podcast. This is not good. Both Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson are very, very important. Both of them are doing incredible reporting. Megyn Kelly, during this campaign, presidential campaign, blew my mind away with some of the reporting that she's responsible for. She's done some great stuff. And I don't have to tell you what Tucker's done. So what this means, no one knows, but Rupert Murdoch's Fox has purchased the podcast network that carries both Tucker and Megyn on. And maybe they'll continue on their own somewhere else. We don't know what kind of deal they have with this network, but them being back under Rupert Murdoch, I don't know if that's a good thing. I know. It just shows you they got and the crazy thing is that this network that Fox purchased, you wonder, did Rupert Murdoch buy it because Tucker and Megyn? I would imagine Tucker and Megyn made that company a lot more valuable than it was before they were there. And how will this affect Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and what they're doing now? Will it put them back under the control of Fox News so far as content, which really came down on Tucker hard when it came to the J6 coverage? All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. Our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Back after this. All right, we'll be back in less than a minute, guys. Less than a minute, about 45, 50 seconds. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. You guys know that. 25 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. So before the break, there was a clip I wanted to play, but I had the break talking about my concerns. Okay, so if you missed the last segment, Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, they do their podcast. Tucker Carlson's the most listened to podcast on Spotify, more listeners than Joe Rogan. Tucker fired for his reporting from Fox News. Megyn Kelly, while she may have left on her own, has been really doing good stuff, especially the last few months of the campaign. And now Rupert Murdoch's Fox has purchased the company that distributes Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly's podcast. And Megyn Kelly and Tucker have become so important to the MAGA movement. Come on. They've really been doing incredible work. And are they, now that they're back at Fox, will there come a point where they won't be able to do that on their podcast? I'm going to play a clip here that illustrates what I'm talking about. This is a new drop from Tucker's podcast. And, you know, Fox News has been very pro-Ukraine war. Remember that. Here's Tucker talking about Ukraine. Yeah, I got to stop it right there. It's a podcast, so you never know what's coming after the what the. Could be anything. That's powerful. So half, maybe more, of the weapons we've been giving Ukraine, the Ukrainians are selling them on the black market to people like the cartels. And when Tucker says he knows this, he's a Trump Circle insider, so he knows. Okay? So if he becomes under Fox's control again, will he be able to report things like that on his podcast? I hope so. But that's the kind, they're very pro-Ukraine war. That's the kind of thing that got them to fire him before. So this idea of new media, it's kind of frightening when the mainstream corporate media can go in like that and take it over, isn't it? I was shocked. I saw this story yesterday, and I was like, oh, tell me it's not true. But it is true. And it's troubling because, you know, everyone's acting like they're friends with Trump now, a lot of these never-Trumpers. Murdoch was in the Oval Office with the president a few days ago. He's in power now. But, you know, are they making a move now? Because they are very well aware that people like Tucker, who are become independent, and many others, are responsible for changing the hearts and minds of the American people into MAGA. People that were not Trump supporters, people that thought they didn't like him, or maybe really did dislike him, voted for him, in large part because of podcast and other things.